Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite June 30th, 2021 review. Folks, if you weren't a fan of MJF and Sammy Guevara, you better be a fan of theirs after tonight. This was by far a match of the year candidate between MJF and Sammy Guevara. These two guys gave everything they had for us, the fans, watching this show, giving everything they could possibly give us in a match, and literally providing us a pay-per-view type style match. I felt like I was watching wrestling from back in the late 90s. You had Sammy Guevara leap from the top rope into the audience, landing on top of MJF. MJF delivering a tombstone pile driver from the top rope onto the floor and possibly blowing out his knee to destroy his own opponent in a storyline fixed match. This was one of the best matches I have seen in a very long time outside of Kenny Omega and Hangman Page going up against the Young Bucks for the tag team titles from last year in Revolution. Folks, this was a fantastic way to close out their time in Daily Place until the next time they show up there for another event. This was excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. If they didn't do anything right on this show, they did this 100% correct to close out their time in Daily Place. Unfucking believable. And to open the show, they did just as good as they did in the beginning, at the end of the show, They had the Young Bucks go up against Eddie Kingston and Pentagon Jr. And yes, the tag team champions lost. But at the end of the day, it was all just to build towards a match to give us a hyped up card for the very first ever live show in front of possibly 10 to 15,000 people. This was an unbelievable, enjoyable show. There were some things here and there that I didn't particularly care for, but at the end of the day, this was a solid, good show. Thumbs up to this show, most definitely. I have no problems with this show whatsoever, especially with those two matches they put on the show. That was fucking great stuff. Great stuff. I am extremely ecstatic. When I was just talking to you guys about the whole thing with Sammy Guevara on the top rope, leaping to the outside where the fans were, I started getting goosebumps. Just thinking about that again after it just happened a few moments ago, it's just unbelievable. I felt like I was watching ECW with Rob Van Dam. It was fucking crazy, man. Really, that crazy. I swear to you guys, if you are not a fan of AEW, then you're not a fan of wrestling. Because how can you like the other guys? Fuck those other guys, as JD used to put it back in the day. Fuck those other guys. JD from New York 206 used to say that all the time. Fuck those other guys. Well, guess what? Fuck WWE. Because they don't have passion. Eddie Kingston said it right. The June 26th episode closed out and they had Eddie Kingston come out. He said exactly what the truth is. The guys on the other channel don't have heart. They don't have passion. It ain't the performers. Now, the performers that are willing to just take a paycheck and not want to do more with their career, they're just as much to blame as the company itself that's making these terrible decisions and not showing any heart or passion towards what they're doing with their craft. This company 100% cares about their product. They care about their fans. They care about the wrestling business. This is what wrestling is all about. I don't care what bad decisions Tony Khan has made in the past year or so, from the time he started up to now. The man cares about his audience. Yes, does he fuck up? Absolutely. He ain't perfect. But am I going to root for someone who cares about his fans? Or am I going to root for a guy who's a money-hungry asshole who don't care about his audience? I think I'll take the guy who cares about his audience while still making money. Because that's what it's about. You make the fans happy, you make money. You don't make the fans happy, yeah, you may be able to find other venues to make money, but you're not going to make it at the end of the day that keeps you alive and keep you going like us, the fans. And WWE doesn't know how to do that anymore. They don't care about keeping themselves in line to stay alive because they're not in it for that anymore. They're going out of business. They are going to close up shop at some point very, very soon. I guarantee it. There's no doubt about it. I am in 100% belief that Vince McMahon is closing up shop in the next 2 to 3 years. I've been saying that for a while now, and I still believe it to this day. I think Vince McMahon is done. He don't care about the wrestling business. He don't care about his fans, because he wants what he wants, and because he hasn't gotten what he wanted in the last 5 years, he now wants to get out. He don't like his fans. He don't like the wrestling fans. Well, tough shit, Vince. You suck dick. You treat your wrestlers like crap. You give them nothing but restrictions and no ability to do anything to shine, and let them sink or swim. And that is what they need to do. I have said this 1,000 times. I'm a telemarketer. I work for a company where you call people, you convince people to buy something, and that is what you do. They give us a certain thing that we have to stick with, but overall, we are the ones who actually say what we want to say, as long as we're staying within the guidelines of what we do. And guess what? That's what wrestling should be like. Wrestling should be a guideline of where they need to stick with the script in the sense of the promo, and then let them do the rest with the words. That's all that should be done. That's all that needs to be done. So, at the end of the day, guys, AEW provides that. AEW cares about the old school mentality of professional wrestling, and the old school mentality still works in today's modern day viewership or modern day entertainment. Vince McMahon should be sitting down, taking notes, watching the other program, and actually want to do the right thing for his product. But I'm certain he ain't. That's why he's digging into Bronson Reed. By the way, the reason why I didn't give you guys a review last night for NXT, there was no need to. Bottom line, Bronson Reed is going bye-bye from NXT. He's going to the main roster, and he's sucking the big one. I can't believe the man took the title off of Johnny Gargano to ultimately lose the title only a few weeks later to Isaiah Swerve Scott. I can't believe that shit. I figured Isaiah Swerve Scott was going to get the title later on down the road, not now. So that's the reason why I didn't review NXT last night. There was nothing special about NXT. You got Johnny Gargano carrying Cross. That's a very good storyline going on. But outside of that and a few other things here and there, I don't care about NXT. Personally, I don't care for WWE-related garbage. Outside of Roman Reigns, there is nothing important on these shows. It's crap. 100% utter crap. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. When they get live crowds again, I'm going to review Monday Night Raw for probably a one-time and one-time only review. If they provide a good 3-hour show where I can actually sit through it and be satisfied or at least enjoy for what it is and it's watchable, then I may continue doing a week-to-week review on Monday Night Raw. If not, oh well, who cares? We move on to the next week and we don't worry about Raw ever again. Because, bottom line, what am I missing anyway? Nothing. So, let's get right into the show. The first match, like I said, it was the Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Pentagon Jr., who actually goes by Penta El Zero Miedo, which I have a hard time pronouncing the name, so I apologize if I mispronounce that Pentagon Jr.'s real wrestling name in AEW. But, great matchup. These two tag teams provided great entertainment. I don't expect the Young Bucks to lose the tag team titles to Eddie Kingston. I almost said Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Kingston and Pentagon Jr. I do not expect to see that take place. I think the Young Bucks will retain the tag team titles. Where I think the Young Bucks should lose the tag team titles to would either be one or two teams. Either Pride and Powerful with Santana Ortiz, or Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Because it does make sense with the Luchasaurus Express, or Jungle Express, excuse me. Fucked up with the name there, I apologize. But yeah, Jungle Express, Jungle Boy has some beef with the Elite. You got Kenny Omega, who's, went off and beat him on the June 26th edition of Dynamite. Very good match, by the way. Bottom line, Jungle Boy has a little bit of beef. Wouldn't he want to get even with the Elite by defeating the Young Bucks for the tag team titles with Luchasaurus? I think so. I think that would be very beneficial. The one thing I'm not liking here is Christian Cage. Christian Cage came in with a slogan, work harder than everyone else. Now he's like Sting mentoring Jungle Boy, which I wouldn't have an issue with if he didn't have the slogan, work harder than everyone else. It's kind of contradicting if you're worrying about other people and trying to get them over, but yet you're not caring about yourself. That slogan's more of a slogan like, I give a shit only about me and me only to become the absolute best that I can be within this company and prove that I'm the absolute best to win the World Heavyweight title. He's not doing that. He's a mentor like Sting is to Darby Allin. I don't have an issue with it if I didn't have that fucking slogan sticking in front of my face, or ever heard that slogan for Christian Cage claiming he's going to work harder than everyone else. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work out for me. It's a total contradiction. So that's my issue with that. Christian Cage, another thing I'm going to mention. I think Christian Cage needs to become heel. I think Christian Cage turning on Jungle Boy is a possibility of taking place. And would I be against it? Absolutely not. Christian Cage portrays a better heel than he does as a face. When he's a heel, he's cocky, he's an asshole, and he probably could get over with that character on this show. Possibly even win the World Heavyweight Championship at some point. I doubt it, but whoever's a face holding on to that title and he's a heel, he'd be perfect for that role. So keep your eyes out for Christian Cage. He may turn heel. He may stay face. I might be wrong about that. Who knows? But Christian Cage competing against Jungle Boy wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, Christian Cage losing to Jungle Boy would kind of slow down his momentum moving forward for a world championship opportunity. Not that anyone gives a fuck. So, and I don't seem to notice that AEW is caring because they got him, pushing Jungle Boy to be the absolute best he can be while he's claiming he's going to work harder than everyone else. Yeah. Okay. So, whatever. I mean, that is one thing I will critique AEW on. I thought that was a little ridiculous. But then again, a lot of people have pointed out that they botched the Christian Cage thing numerous times on other channels, so I'm not the only one who has mentioned this. But bottom line, yeah, I'm not particularly liking this mentoring shit by Christian Cage. I think a heel turn needs to take place, and I wouldn't mind a Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy match. I think those two would do a great job together. They did awesome at the end of the Battle Royal in Double or Nothing, so why wouldn't they be able to put on a good one-on-one match? So I don't see that being a bad thing for them to do. All right, we had Tony Schiavone in the ring with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Ethan Page actually is challenging Darby Allin to the coffin match. Unfortunately, this match has been postponed. Why, I have no idea, outside of the fact that what we saw here tonight, I think there's something going on backstage that's causing a delay on this matchup, I think. I don't think it's what we saw on television, so you probably would have to do some research on behind the scenes news that's going on backstage with AEW to probably get an explanation why it's been postponed. But it is what it is. Darby Allin, though, did come at the end of the promo and try to gouge Ethan Page's eyes out with actual fingernails that he put on his fingers. So, looked a little weird. In my personal opinion, but I'm not going to criticize. I mean, he could have used an ice pick. I mean, that would have worked a little bit more and would have been a bit more vicious, you know? He could have used an ice pick and just done one of his eyeballs. I mean, they already did that with Jon Moxley. I guess that's maybe the reason why they can go with it, because they've already done something like that. They could have used a rusty nail, possibly, but I think that would have been a little barbaric. People would probably criticize that idea, so probably good they didn't go that route. I'm just trying to come up with other things than just women's fingernails on a man's hands. But it is what it is. It did the job of getting somewhat of a little bit of advantage over Ethan Page. Sting came down to the ring with Darby Allin. Actually, Darby Allin was inside of a coffin, which I thought was very, very nice. Thought that was a very nice little idea that they went with a surprise attack. Came across a little like old school wrestling. Again, another nice spot with some old school memories from back in the day when wrestling was great. And they did some great shit here. I actually enjoyed it. What I didn't like was the postpone of the coffin match. I thought that kind of sucked, but I think there's some kind of explanation of why this took place. Not because of what Darby Allin did to Ethan Page. Come on, man. That's fucking retarded. But yeah, the match is being postponed to Fyter Fest, which is in about 2 or 3 weeks. And that's about it. So, kind of sucks that they're postponing the match, but like I said, for the last 3 or 4 times now, there's probably some deeper explanation of why, not just because of what we saw on television. So Jack Evans goes up against Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy picks up the victory with a snail trap submission hold, which is an STF. Very nice win there by Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy picks up his 50th victory in AEW, which is the most amount of victories ever in AEW's history so far. No one has reached that yet, which is kind of surprising. Probably because of the matches he had on Dark as well that nobody probably watched, so whatever. Post-match, HFO and Jurassic Express hit the ring. Eventually, Hardy and Christian battle in the center of the ring. Christian hits kill switch on Hardy and then chokes him with his own jacket. Jack Evans gets back in the ring to pull Christian away from Hardy at that point, and that was pretty much that story, or the end of that segment. Backstage, MJF says he has outclassed and dethroned Chris Jericho over the last couple of months. He feels like Chris Jericho is smart enough to know when he's been bested and decide to step away. So basically, after all the discussion, the comments made here, MJF says he's pretty much fucking fed up of Chris Jericho, and he wants to have a one-on-one match. He'll have to go through some hula hoops to do this, very similar to what he did to Cody Rhodes after he got screwed out of the World Championship back in 2019. And they're probably going to do something a little bit similar to that, you know, slightly changed, of course. And they're going to have a face-to-face meet next week on Dynamite in Miami, my hometown. And they're going to discuss what the terms are for this match to actually take place. I'm imagining that this match is going to take place at All Out. I would imagine that's where this match is taking place. I would not put this match on a Dynamite episode. This does not belong on Dynamite. The whole stipulations that Jericho has to go through to get to the match, that is what needs to be focused on for Dynamite. And then the All Out pay-per-view should be the match where this takes place. Okay? So that match should fill in the card for that pay-per-view. Bottom line. But yeah, MJF is fed up with Jericho, and he's looking forward to destroying Sammy Guevara and putting him out. Not to mention, he said, yeah, this match is also really important to decide the future. And he goes on to say, yeah, Sammy Guevara is the future. I'm the now. Which I thought was fucking great. I gotta give MJF props. He is an amazing character. He does outstanding work on the microphone. Whenever he cuts a promo, he's on point, kicks ass, and sometimes, even in a heel-like way, he makes points where they really do make sense. He has outclassed Jericho in a lot of ways in the last couple of months since they've feuded with each other, which I think is pretty fucking awesome. And, you know, everyone says Roman Reigns this, Roman Reigns that. Everyone that gets involved with Roman Reigns turns into gold. Why don't we talk about Chris Jericho? Look what the work this guy has done. He made Orange Cassidy look like a fucking main eventer. The guy got a shot at a world title last pay-per-view on Double or Nothing. And he almost won, and fans were pissed that he lost. You're telling me that wasn't some help from Chris Jericho to get that Orange Cassidy character over with? You damn straight he did. Look what he's done with Sammy Guevara in the last 2 years since they started with the Inner Circle. Heel to face, and now he's a beloved character. I even like Sammy Guevara, and I hated his guts when they started with him. Pride and Powerful, can't really say that. They need to get the works going with that. They've been kind of an afterthought, which I think absolutely sucks because they were great in TNA. Right now, they're just kind of getting their motor running here and looking like they're going to get to a world tag team title opportunity at some point down the line. So I'd imagine that's going to take place eventually. They may even be the team to beat the Young Bucks. That's a possibility. But they'd have to wait on that. I probably would say Full Gear would be the best place for that to take place, and that would be a 2-year anniversary from the last time those two faced each other at Full Gear. So I don't think they faced each other since then either. Which, if that's the case, that's an historic way of changing the title over to the new champions. So that's a thought. And it would give the Young Bucks a chance to still have a lengthy title reign at the same time. So, we get Andrade El Idolo. I'm just going to say Andrade because I cannot say his fucking last name like I could with him having Cianamis. About his announcement, and Andrade says he was ready last week, but Matt Sydal interrupted him. So Andrade says, how about that he and Matt something, which he's just insulting him, of course. Him and I have a match next week in Miami. Great. Matt Sydal is a great opponent for a debut match. I think that's an awesome matchup. I guarantee you these two guys will provide us a very good... I would imagine this would be the opener of the show. I would definitely do that. Being Andrade's first match and him being the opener to the show is very important. I think the opener to the show or the beginning of or the end of the show are the two most important matches to take place on anything, on television or on a pay-per-view, because it sets the tone of how the show is going to go. It gives you that kind of idea of how the show is going to go from beginning to end. And if you start off hot, you're going to possibly do well. There have been pay-per-views, and that's just the only company I've seen that really do that with is WWE, because they seem to always fuck that up. That's what they're good at, fucking things up. If there was a trophy for fucking shit up, WWE be your guys to give a trophy to. But yeah, I think these two guys are a great idea to be the opener of the show, Matt Sydal and Andrade. I think that will be a good matchup. And I think Andrade is going to have an excellent debut match. Next, we had the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. He cut a good promo. It seemed like he was kind of copying Roman Reigns here without the help of Don Callis in this promo. Until the Dark Order showed up trying to offer or tell Kenny Omega there is one man that you haven't faced yet and you haven't given an opportunity for your world championship, and that's Hangman Page. Personally, I came out and I said this with my friend. I said, look, I liked the promo. I liked what was done here. What I didn't like was the whole Dark Order coming out for Adam Page. I don't think he needs them at all. Personally, I think they need a darker, sinister type character leading their group. The Dark Order used to be that, which I thought was great. I've mentioned I think there's two people that fit the job for that role. That's Aleister Black and Sammy Callahan, not Sammy Guevara. Sammy Callahan. Those are the two best guys you could possibly use for a role like that. I don't think Sammy Callahan is going to be the guy because he's still employed with Impact, and I don't think Impact is using any of their guys except for the Good Brothers, and that's because they're friends with Kenny Omega, so they're probably okaying that idea, but everything else is pretty much, off limits. They're not having their talent interact with AEW Dynamite television in any way, shape, or form. So that's pretty much the situation on that. Again, I'm not saying it was a terrible segment by any means, so don't get it the wrong way. I'm not saying it sucked and it was just absolutely, trash. But I am saying it came across a little bit weak in my opinion. I understand the Dark Order trying to befriend Hangman Page, but Hangman Page does not fit the role of the Dark Order, and Dark Order do not fit this role of being nice. There's a reason why they're called the Dark Order, because they're dark, they're evil, they're not meant to be, doing the right thing. They're meant to taking shit over. They're like the NWO or the Undisputed Era. That's the kind of mentality they need to have. They need to be a takeover faction. They're not taking over anything. They're just fucking, being cheerleaders for Hangman Page. Come on, man. It's fucking ridiculous. That's my issue with that. I mean, if they were badasses and they were trying to take over the AEW and trying to be the most dominant faction in AEW with Hangman Page, I'd be saying things differently, but that's not the same image. That since Brody Lee has passed, they have not been the same. That is my issue with this. So, if you guys disagree with me, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, there's no right or wrong to this. Everyone's got their own opinion on that. And personally, I think fact is fact here. They were better when they had Brody Lee. They need a guy like Brody Lee who gives off that dark image that's a takeover type group. They're not taking over anything. They're just cheerleaders. And that's not what they need to be. Dark Order was badass. At one point, I was even saying Evil Uno and forgot his fucking partner's name. Oh, jeez. You guys must think I'm fucking retarded. That's fine. If you want to think that way about me, that's fine. His partner's name, I forgot it. I think it was Joe. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to try to find the names here for the Dark Order. Stu Grayson, excuse me, I apologize. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. I was actually predicting at one point we're going to become tag team champions down the line. And that was when they had that dark image and they were like a takeover faction type of thing. And they looked like they were just recruiting all different members on the roster to just destroy and dominate the AEW. But that's not the case anymore. We're not getting that from them, which is what I liked about the Dark Order. So, there you go. So Miro versus Brian Pillman for the AEW TNT Championship. Have no problems with this match. Not surprising, Miro retained the title. He looked very dominant in this match. He's doing a great job as the TNT champion. I think Darby Allin's run as TNT champion was stopped short. I don't think he should have lost the title to Miro so soon. I think this should have been done at like All Out or something. This would have been more beneficial if Darby Allin had the TNT Championship and Ethan Page was fighting him for it in a coffin match. I think that would have been great. Unfortunately, we're not getting any of that. We're just getting a regular coffin match, and that's about it. But, I mean, the storyline for Ethan Page and Darby Allin's not bad. They're trying to go into their indie days when they were competing in Evolve and stuff like that. And, you know, showing us what it was like back in those days when they were not part of an AEW or a major, you know, a non-indie promotion. And they're just trying to give us that image on a bigger scale. And I have no issues with it, but the thing with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page being together is just, to me, insane. I'm not a big fan of it. Yeah, the next segment on the show was Hangman Page going backstage to talk to the Dark Order. The Dark Order they explained why they did what they did for Hangman Page. Hangman Page did not approve what they did. He's like, look, I don't need you guys to talk for me. I can do my own talking, which I'm glad they did this. This really made up for what they were doing in the beginning, earlier on in the show. So I'm glad they went about doing this. This was the right thing on their part to do something like this. It showed that Hangman Page has a backbone, wants to do things on his own, doesn't need a group of people talking for him or establishing a match for him. But Dark Order explained why they were doing what they did. They said, look, man, you deserve it. You've worked your ass off. You've been winning. You've been killing it here in AEW. It's your time, man. Don't be afraid of failure. Embrace the idea of going ahead, kicking some ass, and if you fall down, get back up and try it again. I like the comments made by Dark Order. It was nice. But he don't need them to talk for him. He don't need them being a cheerleader for him. I just, I'm against it. They need to bring out a meaner, nastier Hangman Page We need to see an intense Hangman Page. Enough with the fucking alcohol in the hand, drinking the hard liquor. I think it's time for him to stop moping around with an alcoholic beverage in his hand. And it's time for him to do what he was doing when he first started in AEW, going up against Chris Jericho. In that all-out pay-per-view, he stood there and he was bashing his fucking head in, where he got staples, stitches for the cut that Jericho gave him from the Code Breaker during the Fyter Fest leading up to All Out. And he said, I want my blood to flow because I want to kick your ass. He had that kind of intensity. That is the Hangman Page we need to see. That's the Hangman Page that will overcome Kenny Omega's fucking unbelievable wrestling ability and kick Kenny Omega's ass. That's the kind of Hangman Page that will make me believe he's a guy in a fixed matchup that is believable enough that if you had it as a real fight, Hangman Page probably could pull it out. And that's the way I want to see Hangman Page be. Enough with the fucking drinking. That drinking shit is just making him look like he's mourning for himself or feeling sorry for himself. He don't need to feel sorry for himself. He needs to get back that fire he had and kick some fucking ass. At first, I was okay with the drinking Hangman Page, but it ain't no Stone Cold Steve Austin type of Hangman Page I'm getting out of this. I'm not getting any of that kind of vibe from that. So enough with the drinking. If the drinking ain't the solution to bring out the best in Hangman Page, then fuck it. Don't need it. Don't need it. That's my attitude on that. We also had Taz backstage with Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook explaining the situation with Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. They're not on the best terms with each other. So Taz decided on July 14th, 2 weeks from now, that Brian Cage and Ricky Starks will compete over the FTW Championship on July 14th to settle their differences, and they move on past the situation that's been going on between these two. I don't have any beef with that. I think the FTW Championship needs to be retired. There's no need for that belt. It has no meaning on the show. The $1 Million Championship is more prestigious than the fucking FTW title. And that ain't much. But what Cameron Grimes and LA Knight are doing together makes that title mean something. So if it wasn't for those two, that title wouldn't mean shit. Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero versus the AEW Women's Champion Britt Baker and Rebel. Britt Baker is really confusing me. I don't know if she's a face or she's a heel. One minute she's being cheered by the fans and she's doing heel-like tactics. I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, but you may want to embrace the fans on this. The fans like Britt Baker. Let her be a face. She can still be a cocky SOB, but let her be a face. She doesn't need to cheat. She doesn't need to throw Rebel in the middle of fire with Nyla Rose in the middle of the match and refuse to tag in, just so later she can go ahead and make Vicky Guerrero tap out to a jaw lock, or the submission hold she applies on every match. The lockjaw, excuse me. So post-match, Rose gets back in the ring and hits a beast bomb on Baker through a table onto the floor. And and that was pretty much the ending of that segment. They go through the list of matches that'll be taking place next week on July 7th's episode. I think that show is going to be excellent. I'm on vacation next week. Thank Christ. I've been through enough. That's another reason why I didn't do any review on NXT. I was just tired out from all the work I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And with everything I've been doing on this channel to provide you guys new content, I just was burnt out. So that's another reason. There was no excitement, and I've been tired out from work. So between those two things, I was just like, fuck NXT. Who cares? So I apologize for the misinformation, telling you guys I was going to upload a video Tuesday night for NXT, and unfortunately I didn't. So again, to all you guys who have been following me, I greatly appreciate it, and I apologize for not coming through with that video for you guys. And the last thing on the card was MJF versus Sammy Guevara. Well deserved to be on the main card. What they did was outstanding. You already know what I thought about this in the beginning of the video, so I don't have to reiterate everything. But yeah, these guys did a great job in this match. Possibly a match of the year candidate, in my opinion. This was at least a top 10 best match of the year so far. These guys were excellent. I was highly entertained. Everything they did here was great. I hope MJF was only selling an injury with his knee. Unfortunately, the ending, I forgot to mention, did end a little bit shitty, but it doesn't, hurt the match in any way, shape, or form. You're guaranteed you're going to see Sammy Guevara and MJF feud again in another match. I'm pretty certain these two guys are going to turn into a lifelong feud. I mean, these guys are going to be like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, only it's going to be done way better than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn ever could do it, because WWE fucks everything up, like I just said earlier in the video. But they did an excellent job here. Excellent match. Well deserved to even be on a pay-per-view card if you really want to get technical. And I was very happy, ecstatic, and surprised how much work they put into this matchup to get people excited. Everybody in that fucking arena was standing out of their chairs. They were on their feet watching till the end of that match. And that is definitely a plus by AEW to pull that off. How many freaking live shows have we seen in the past where fans are just sitting there giving you the golf clap bullshit approval for a match, and they hardly ever stand up during the matchup? Come on, man. It hasn't been done in a long, long time. This match gave that off. They got people out of their seats. They were yelling, screaming, getting excited. Hell, I even saw a fan. I don't know if it was a plant fan, for AEW to interact with MJF to make MJF look like a prick. But MJF was interacting with a fan. And the fan was talking shit a little bit. Wasn't, over the top and insulting or offensive, where if you were at MJF, you'd want to punch him in the fucking mouth for saying shitty things to him. But he was talking a little bit of trash. And I liked it. It was old school mentality. That's what this fucking wrestling companies, the wrestling business needs. Old school mentality mindset. Because that's when wrestling was cool. That's when people wanted to come and watch the shows. Because it's wrestling-based stuff. It's actually sports entertainment, as Vince McMahon used to put it, while still providing wrestling in the ring. Hey, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sports entertainment that provides sports. Vince McMahon don't provide that anymore. Sorry to keep reiterating Vince McMahon in this review, but I gotta mention the elephant in the room, and that is the elephant. Vince McMahon and his dipshit circus clown company, WWE. They shouldn't even call themselves WWE. It stands for World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't know where the entertainment is, but it sure as hell ain't on that show. It's more on this show than anything else. So anyway, guys, by the way, the ending was Shawn Spears went ahead and hit Sammy Guevara in the head with the chair. Now, in most cases, wrestling has banned any chair shots to the head. See, I disagree that chair shots should be banned. Chair shots to the head should be banned. I don't think so. The AEW displayed here that they could still do chair shots. They just have to have the performer that's receiving the chair to the head to have their hands up above their head so they won't get struck in the skull and get a concussion. See? It's very simple. You can still do it. You just got to be a little bit careful when you do it so you don't injure the guy who's taking the shot to the head. You just have their hands up. I mean, it's not as effective as their hands being down and clearly getting smacked in the skull with a chair, but if you still want to have that image of him, the guy taking a chair and wailing it over his head while his hands are in the way so he won't get hurt severely bad or get a concussion and be out for like almost a month, then that's the best way to go. And it's the best way to use a chair, using it on their backs and shit and smashing it into their gut. I mean, it's painful, I guess you could say, but it ain't as effective as a chair shot over the skull. So, that's just me. But yeah, that's how the match ended, with a chair shot over the skull. The referee was distracted with Wardlow throwing Chris Jericho almost into the timer's table and where the ring bell is, and the referee was distracted, and MJF crawled to a lifeless Sammy Guevara, and MJF got the 1-2-3 to end the match and get the victory. And that's pretty much the show in a nutshell. They showed a small video package with music of the overall things that took place and daily plays for the last 15 months, which there were some really good moments that happened there. Some moments weren't all that great. Probably the lowest point in AEW is when this pandemic started. They were really hot coming to the beginning of this pandemic, and then after that, it just kind of fell flat a little bit. They had their moments where they felt like the AEW before the pandemic, but they were a little bit kind of off. AEW is starting to pick it up again and get back to the way they used to. But bottom line, there was some good stuff overall, even though I kind of felt like AEW wasn't at their peak before the pandemic. So, like they were before the pandemic, I mean. But you get my point. So at this time, guys, if you like this video, hit the let me repeat that. If you like the video, if you like what you heard here, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, of course, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you can get more of this content and be able to view it on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. And leave a comment down below on anything I had to say or your thoughts on the actual show itself, and I'll definitely reach back out to you and let you guys hear my opinions and interact with you guys. So I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.